So we can gently make a start now. As you may have guessed, apart from the online DMEU full moon meditation and it being combined with the usual Saturday evening meditation hour throughout Europe, we also have an in-person full moon ceremony here in Dhammakaya in London, in Woking. And this month is special because it comes close to the time for Thai New Year. Thai New Year, apart from many things, is to do with the values of gratitude and forgiveness. And a little bit later on, we'll get to talk a little bit more about that. But what will be different tonight from our usual activity is that instead of lighting candles halfway through our meditation today, we will be pouring water out of respect for the things towards which we have gratitude. So if anyone has to hand some water rather than a candlelight today, then you might want to make sure that that is within reach before we start the ceremony. So generally we start with the meditation. The meditation in total is about 45 minutes, but halfway through we normally do something like light a candle. This time we're going to be pouring water on objects of respect. And in this respect, I would like to give a few little suggestions that, generally out of respect, if you're doing something like pouring water, the perfumed water with petals onto something like a Buddha statue, it's customary not to pour it over the head of something you respect, but rather over the hands in the lap of the Buddha, or at the very most up to the level of the shoulders, that's all, rather than giving the water straight over the head. For something like a pagoda, which you will also see here, generally instead of pouring it over the peak of the pagoda, you pour it over the base of the pagoda, so just so you know. But what we'll do today, after we've settled ourselves in meditation, for those of you who wish to participate in the pouring of water out of gratitude, then you can make your way to the back of the hall here, and there's little cups like the one you can see in the picture, which you can scoop up the water with the petals in and pour that over three things which we've prepared at the back of the hall. And for those of you watching from home, then you might need to have your things which you respect close to hand so that you can pour the water in the same way. I understand there's no one who's new to meditation today, not completely new anyway, so we're going to just dive straight in and sit for some meditation now. So if you'd like to make yourself comfortable for the meditation practice. So we start by placing our attention on the most relaxed part of our body. And if you haven't done so already, then close your eyes very gently. And as you listen, you might become more aware of any feelings of gratitude which you have. You can become aware of the feelings in your body as you relax and prepare to go deeper in meditation. Even on the level of our body, there is much for us to feel grateful about. So relax in your body more and more with every breath. And every breath that you take in can be something which you are grateful for. Every beat of your heart is also something to feel grateful for. And if you feel grateful for your breath and for the beating heart, and for all the metabolism that powers your body, the warmth and the liquids and the food, and you can notice the parts of your body that feel relaxed, and connect that relaxation with the feeling of gratitude. And as you make that connection with the part of your body that feels the most relaxed, you can also allow that relaxed and calm feeling to spread throughout your body. And you can allow the feelings of gratitude to mingle with the feeling of relaxation. And now as you connect with that tide of relaxation, as soon as you feel ready and at a pace that you feel comfortable with, you can allow yourself to drift deeper and deeper into a relaxed state of body and mind. Where gratitude is a feeling, it's an embodied emotion, a specific tingling and pulsing vibration that can move through you, conjured up whenever you notice things for which you feel truly grateful. And just as there are many things for which you can feel potentially happy and grateful in your life, you can elicit a wonderful feeling of gratitude that will flow through your body more and more each time you connect with that gratitude. And as you allow yourself to create a bigger and warmer and more wonderful feeling of gratitude in your body, you can allow yourself to drift gradually deeper into this relaxation. Gratitude can be a response to things that you see and hear, things that you think of and imagine in your mind. And the more that you allow yourself to connect with the feeling of gratitude as you go about your day, the more that you experience the world through the feelings of gratitude. And to abide in that state of gratitude, being grateful and thankful for that which is around you, it's a very positive way to live your life and experience the world around you. So as you go into this meditation, just relax and allow your awareness to float deeper into a comfortable state. As for so many things to do with habits and values, they are rooted in our qualities of mind. Without engaging the mind on a deeper level, then every aspect of gratitude or forgiveness that we manifest will be nothing more than lip service or going through the motions. So together with every sort of cultivation in our life, we try to engage with our mind on a deeper level to make sure the quality of gratitude is something meaningful right to our core. So as a special opportunity to cultivate gratitude, forgiveness, and all the things that make for harmony, especially in the family life, we conjure up a sense of positivity in the mind, a sense of gratitude for all the things for which we see the value in our lives. That emotion will arise inside us as a tingling feeling of positivity, a warm, fuzzy feeling inside us, which we can allow to grow and spread inside us until it fills the whole of our body and mind, until the entirety of the emotion within ourselves is that of gratitude. And connecting with this emotion allows us to go yet more deeply into meditation. And you may drift so deep into this meditation that the ideas and the thoughts about feeling grateful and living life with more gratitude can root themselves deeply inside your subconscious and manifest themselves as thoughts, words and deeds in your life and the things that you experience. And when you experience gratitude as a feeling inside that reverberates through your entire being, it makes life seem somehow more precious. And the more that you live your life through those feelings of gratitude, through the mindset of gratitude, the more grateful you feel, the more you become aware of the positive influences in your world. Such feelings of gratitude will attract more and more wonderful things into your future. And the more that you take a moment right now to acknowledge that as you go deeper and deeper into this meditation, you can connect with that gratitude more. Just hearing the words grateful and gratitude will help you to start noticing your gratitude towards other people and express that gratitude. And other people will feel grateful towards you as well. Because gratitude is a subtle vibration that resides in the mind. And like all things in the universe, it's a vibrating mass of energy. The very building blocks of all things, animate and inanimate, is energy, whether it be cells, people, knowledge, thoughts, places or experiences, or everything in your universe. Just as the word realize literally means to make real, by realizing gratitude, you essentially make real the good things that you appreciate because of the energy of your thoughts, which manifest and change things for the better. And the thought energy, that is the thought energy of gratitude, is made from the same energy as you and everything around you. So by feeling grateful, you are communicating and transforming all the things around you with that positive energy. So having relaxed ourselves both in body and in mind, from here we turn our mind to achieve some sort of focus inside ourselves. To this end, we might imagine that within the body is just an empty space or a hollow cavity, or as if our whole body has been transformed into a sort of transparent bubble with nothing on the inside. And now would be the time to focus or find a focus for our attention by conjuring up in our mind something bright and clear, like a shining sun, a full moon, a star, a crystal ball, or even a sparkling diamond. Or indeed the feeling of an object such as those I've already mentioned, as if that object is present inside our body, even though we know it's there only by how it feels. And we allow that picture or feeling to make its way gently downwards within our body until it comes to a point at the deepest part of our breath, the solar plexus or the center of our diaphragm, using that inner object as an anchor for the mind, to keep our mind engaged with our sense of positivity at the place where it really counts, at the very center of ourselves. If our mind wanders away to anything else around us, it's just a case of bringing it back each time. If the inner object disappears, we can conjure up a new one. If the object changes, we can just follow it in its new form. And little by little it will take our mind deeper. The quality of the awareness will change to become more subtle, more nuanced, more refined, until there's a feeling as if our whole body seems to become light in weight, disappearing into the atmosphere around us, and allowing the mind to go deeper still. If there are thoughts in the mind, we do our best to ignore them, because meditation is a place of wordlessness. It's a place that gives value to the space between the thoughts, rather than the thoughts themselves. So we look for the space between the thoughts, and the goal of stopping the mind or the standstill, which you may be familiar with from previous meditations, means a state in meditation where mental activity has died down to a point that there are no further thoughts in the mind anymore. Just a sense of clear awareness, a sense of direct perception on the inside. So we continue to cultivate the focus of our mind lightly and gently in this way. And we'll find that many of the things we have experienced since the day we were born are things that we have just taken for granted. When we were younger, there were people to cook for us, clean and wash up after us, look after us, teach and guide us. As we grew up, hopefully we will have acknowledged all this help and become more grateful. Some people say that when you don't appreciate what you've got until it's gone. And gratitude is about appreciating things while we still have them. It's easy to take things for granted when we have never experienced life without them. So we take a moment to notice some of the feelings in our life about things for which we are grateful. Perhaps things we've been taking for granted but which we now recognize, allowing us finally to become more grateful. As we relax comfortably, we can start to see the world differently, in a way that has more gratitude. The danger of a world that lacks gratitude is that no one will want to help another person a second time. Ingratitude will turn society into a more selfish place. Because the nature of ingratitude is like being in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by water but unable to drink any of it. And in the same way, if we are ungrateful, even if we are surrounded by helpful people, things and opportunities, but because we only know how to find fault with these things, we are unable to derive any benefit from the help that's offered to us. But through gratitude, it seems that even our brain is transformed. We find ourselves more and more unshackled from toxic emotions if we are more grateful. And even if we don't share that gratitude with others, it still brings benefits on the level of the brain. It's as if our unconscious mind gets messages that join together in new ways, so that we can think differently about the things that we achieve. Realizing more and more how much of what we achieve in our life is due to the help of other things and other people in our lives. And when you're better able to feel grateful for these things, and it is something that we can do any time, at any place, whether we're driving, walking, talking, at work or at play, we can feel grateful more and more in all sorts of situations. We can allow ourselves to feel grateful for things and for people with whom we spend our time, feeling that gratitude more and more. In effect, it is an internal dialogue, an image and a feeling within us. And eliciting those feelings and images, or this internal dialogue, helps us feel more grateful, helps us to value and appreciate the things that we have. It's almost as if we are pre-programming our subconscious to remind us to feel grateful at every opportunity. So meditation on gratitude supercharges our subconscious, literally rewiring our mind for a more grateful and abundant mindset. And this gratitude will contribute to improved health and wealth and abundance in our lives. So reflecting on this, we engage deeper and deeper with a sense of gratitude at the center of our body for a few more moments in silence until we come to the appropriate time. And picking up now on the energy we've gained by the outpouring of gratitude, we re-engage with gratitude at the center of our body. And at this time we can double down on that sense of gratitude by projecting a sense of gratitude towards ourselves first of all. We take a moment to feel grateful just for being who we are, appreciating ourselves as we are, and taking a look at ourselves as if in a mirror, to think how grateful we are that we are who we are. We can remind ourselves to have an attitude of gratitude, and rather than advocating self-aggrandizement, we simply connect with a moderate amount of self-esteem. Because if we don't appreciate ourselves, then it will be hard for others to appreciate us, or for us to appreciate others. You can remember to feel grateful towards yourself throughout the day, from this moment forward. And from there we can allow ourselves to feel more and more grateful. Deep down inside our subconscious, recognizing that feeling of gratitude, allowing us to feel grateful for more things, perhaps things that have happened in our lives, whether it be birthdays or festive times of the year, or specific events that you have coming up. You might feel grateful for things like nutritious meals, holidays, or even the small and simple things that you can feel grateful for. You can feel grateful for the things that perhaps you normally take for granted, even the things that we may feel that we have actually paid for. But simply having them available to purchase, whether it be food, shelter, clothing, or good health, these little things that we often take for granted, or the things like the time you spend with other people, or the people that spend that time with you. More and more in the future you can feel grateful when you're experiencing these things, either working or socially. And the more you experience gratitude in those places and times in your life, the more wonderful and vibrant and grateful your life will become. And you can feel grateful for those things, and you can allow your feelings of gratitude to spread into other areas of your life, allowing you to express those feelings of gratitude more and more as you go through your day. And as you feel gratitude for those things, you might start to appreciate with gratitude the role other people have had in bringing about those things for which you feel grateful. And you express your real and true gratitude to other people for the things that they do, because you spread that gratitude to others. Simply by saying thank you to somebody is expressing your gratitude. Saying thank you can bring a smile to others' faces. And it even lights up different areas of our brain, making us feel happier. The long-term benefits of practicing conscious gratitude on your health, happiness and general well-being have been proven again and again. It might be a good opportunity to be grateful on a spiritual level to founders, teachings, meditation teachers in the present, the heritage, the living tradition, and the culture that perpetuates our tradition, from which we derive so much solace and benefit in the practice of our meditation in the present day. We might also consider feelings of gratitude for elders and betters in our lives, acknowledging the ways they have shaped our lives for the better. So we cultivate our attention in this way, lightly and gently, engaging more deeply with a sense of gratitude, perhaps calling to mind the things for which we are grateful. And often gratitude is connected with an emotion of forgiveness. And in this connection we can perhaps reflect on the issues that we might want to let go of from our past, with the proviso that we can forgive without any real need to forget, allowing us to learn from history without being too naive about it. And when we extend good wishes in this way to ourselves initially, and then ever wider outwards into the society around us, to fellow human beings, all of whom love their life, appreciate goodness in life, irrespective of race, creed, nationality, or religion, and to all living beings, not just human beings, but all living beings who also value their lives in the same way. Because at this moment, although we may be fortunate in being able to enjoy peace of mind and cultivate a sense of peace, but there are parts of the world where many people are not enjoying such peace. Those who are caught up with disruption and fear. So at this time we might be worth conjuring up a sense of gratitude for the peace that we enjoy, while remembering that those elsewhere in the world aren't so fortunate as us. So we extend a sense of humanity in ever-widening circles outwards into the world around us for a few more moments in silence until we come to the appropriate time. Pe Buddha Balapata Paje Kananchayam Balang Arahantananchate Jena Rakam Bandami Sapaso Sapaputtanupavena Sapatammanupavena Sapasankhanupavena Satha Soti Bhavantu Te. So if you'd like to come to the end of your meditation for this evening, you can gradually open your eyes again. If you feel at all uncomfortable, then slowly try changing to a more comfortable position before gradually finishing your practice. So I hope the meditation went well for everyone. Not too long, a little bit of a interlude for our gratitude practices in the middle. Well, this month we come to the full moon of April, and for those of you who have been following the progression, in January we had the wolf moon, in February we had the snow moon, in March we had the worm moon, and the full moon of April, which we are celebrating actually on the actual day this time round, is known as the pink moon. You shouldn't expect it to actually look pink, although sometimes we get dust clouds blown from the Sahara Desert which make the sky turn pink, occasionally here in Britain anyway. But certainly if you look at moonrise for about 20 minutes or so, you might get sort of orange hues on the moon as you see it, and it's said to be the brightest moon we've had so far this year as well. So why is it called the pink moon? Well, it's down to a certain sort of flower that appears, at least in North America, at this time of year. It's called wild ground phlox, or phlox subulata. Looks something like this, at least in the seed catalogue. And it's linked with the sort of flowers that blossom at this time. But if that's too complicated for you, then maybe you can think about the cherry blossoms instead. There's slightly more of that around for us to see. And the alternative names, which might make more sense, are the sprouting grass moon, the growing moon, the hare moon, and in Britain, sometimes known as the egg moon, because it's the start of the egg-laying season. Some coastal tribes refer to it as the fish moon because it appears at the same time that the fish start swimming upstream, and sometimes called breaking the ice moon, broken snowshoe moon, frog moon, the moon when the ducks come back, and the moon when streams are again navigable. It's also quite a crossroads of religious beliefs at this time. Good Friday, Easter Sunday, I guess you might call this Good Saturday or something. But in fact, it's for the first time in 30 years, this year, it's the time when Passover, Ramadan and Easter all coincide at the same time. And also for Hindus, this full moon coincides with Hanuman Jayanti, the celebration of the birth of Hanuman. And for Sri Lankan Buddhists, it's known as the Bakpoya full moon day, which commemorates the Buddha's second visit to Sri Lanka when he brokered peace amongst the Sri Lankan chiefs. But for our purposes, the night of the full moon day is connected with feelings of self-reflection and subconscious acceptance, and especially as it's the Thai New Year as well, then the values of gratitude and forgiveness. The topic I planned for today is a day of gratitude because the full moon aligns with the period of the Thai New Year, or Songkran Day. It's known as Family Day sometimes because it's a time when, even though people might not take holidays during any other time of the year, but they all try to come back together with their family at that time of the year, no matter how far they have to travel to be with their parents and their relatives, going to the temple or spending more time with one another. And it's a time of sort of new beginnings, and although it might not be connected directly with Buddhism, it's a part of the Asian calendar for many countries in South and Southeast Asia, the coming of a new year or new growing season. In the ideal world, it's the opportunity to talk more about family values, or maybe get parents thinking about bringing up their children in a good way to bring about virtues and good habits, or for the children to treat their parents with more respect. Mostly it has something to do with water. In Thailand, it's the hottest time of the year, and for those of you who joined our ceremony on Sunday, then we had the making of holy water. You can see the big cauldron of water still there, and the monks sprinkle that water, respectfully of course, on all the people who come along for the ceremony. So the water which is made by chanting, made sacred by the chanting of the monks. But also we have the perfumed water which we use to sprinkle the water over the Buddha statue and the pagoda and the historic teacher in our tradition. Usually the water is perfumed, and sometimes it has flower petals in it as well, to show that it's an expression of respect. And generally it's poured not only on the things that we respect, but also on the people we respect. It's not something we are able to do today, but those of you who joined us on the last Sunday saw that we generally line up our seniors and make sure that they are paid respect to by all the others who can spend some time digging deep in their sense of gratitude to look for the things they can learn from those elders and betters, and at the same time to receive a blessing. And I hear that the mayor of Woking also got sprinkled in the same way. I hope he understood all the reasons behind that. But we had three things which we singled out for special attention. The first was a pagoda. It may not appear immediately obvious what the point of paying respect to that is, but it's because the pagoda contains some things which we value highly in Buddhism, called relics, and they appear to be rather like small pearls or grains, sometimes about the size of rice grains, but they are pearly. Sometimes they almost look like they're moist the whole time. And generally speaking, when there is a cremation, then generally all that is left at the end of a cremation ceremony is a whole bunch of ashes. But for those who are of high virtue, often there's something new that occurs in the ashes alongside the ashes themselves. And it's these different sorts of what are known as relics in Buddhism. And certainly for the Buddha, when he passed away, then there were a lot of relics which were divided up and put in pagodas all around India and all around the world afterwards. And also for his disciples, there were relics in their after their cremation ceremonies as well. And for the different disciples, then they have different appearances, sometimes in color or shape, which are identifiable as well. So if you look carefully in the pagoda, then you see those little white things inside the pagoda in the little container inside there. Maybe you want to look more closely later on. And originally they were divided up from the time of the Buddha, and since then they have been passed around. It's said that they are special because if people don't appreciate them, then they tend to find a way of going off and staying with people who do appreciate them instead. So if you don't have gratitude for your relics, then one day you might find your pagoda empty and they've all disappeared off to go and stay in someone else's house where they are appreciated more. They have little strange stories around these relics. The Buddha statue, it is, in our tradition, it's one that is crystalline because it's not really representing the historical Buddha. Historical Buddha would be represented by the relics, but the experience of enlightenment, the thing that transformed Prince Siddhartha from a mundane human being into an enlightened human, was a body of enlightenment which he experienced inside himself, known as the Dhammakaya, hence the name of our temple. So we are appreciative towards that living experience of enlightenment, which is still possible to attain down to the present day. And last but not least is the great abbot of Wat Phra Nam, the founder of a tradition in the present day, and who laid down his life in order to get the tradition back from where it had been lost or fragmented for so many years into a form that we could practice again in the present day. Generally in Thailand, if you ever went to visit it in the month of April, then you might find a very different and less respectful aspect of dousing people with water. A lot more boisterous in many respects. As I said, it's probably a good time of year to get out of the heat, and plenty of water to play around with in Thailand. Sometimes the water they play around with is not even particularly clean. Sometimes it's got powder or flour mixed up with it. So even if you go there, you might be mistaken for misunderstanding what it's all about. But really, the idea of it is to show respect and have an outpouring of respect, and to receive blessings from each other for the goodness in our lives. And in this, the main point is to do with two qualities which we try to foster during this time of the year, especially those of gratitude and forgiveness. And I'll talk first about gratitude because even according to fairly recent research by a couple of researchers called Brown and Wong, going back to 2017, they did a little experiment with 300 adults who were struggling with various mental health concerns. And they found significant improvements in the mental health of the group of people who took the trouble to write 3 weekly letters of gratitude to another person, as compared to those who just wrote down negative experiences or those who did not write down anything at all. So just the simple fact of writing to people who you have gratitude for 3 times a week helped with a lot of different mental health issues that they were experiencing. So it would appear that the simple act of bringing to mind gratitude for others tends to unshackle us from toxic emotions. And even if you don't share that gratitude with others, it still brings benefit and has lasting positive effects on the brain. Simple act of turning the mind towards more positive aspects of life changes our mindset to look on the more positive side of life. And many people see an improvement in their life just over the course of a few weeks of trying to bring to mind things that you feel grateful for. It's very powerful because if we don't make that effort, then we tend to focus just on the faults of things or people who come to us in our lives. So it's a way of forcing ourselves to look for the good in people. And gratitude is a good way to do this. We also help to see the value in the things around us so that we are not left in the world surrounded by things of potential value but which we overlook the value of. Another way to think about gratitude is that we tend not to appreciate the value of things until it's gone. And it's a way of seeing that value before they are taken from us or before they run out. And this is much the case of the objects of faith in Buddhism or in meditation, because although the Buddha was alive in the world for 80 years, but eventually had to pass away, leaving nothing more than the relics. Someday even the relics will disappear. And although the teachings have been around for 2,600 years, they've managed to outlive the Buddha for that long, but they get more and more diluted with time, and as time goes on, little by little they'll be lost and less complete, and people find more difficulty in practicing them to their fruition. So even the people who understand those things in the present day, they get more and more rare as time goes on, and even they will pass away, and we need to make sure we learn as much as we can from those things, those people, before we no longer have the opportunity to do that. So this is the point of having gratitude towards these objects of inspiration in our tradition. The originator of the teaching, teachers in the present day, will all disappear eventually. So just the little act of pouring water, asking for a blessing, is a way of bringing to mind the value of these things, at least in the back of our mind, to make the most of these things which are valuable to us before it's too late. As for the people in our lives that we value, the elders and betters, we should ask ourselves how we can learn the maximum from them before it's too late, before they're no longer in our lives anymore. As for the aspect of forgiveness, usually I give a much longer talk about this, but in order not to take a whole hour of your time, in brief I would summarize it down in a much shorter way to say that forgiveness is particularly important for putting bad stuff behind us, especially at the turning of the new year. And although we might forgive people, it doesn't mean that we let them off the hook easily, or neglect to dispense justice to the person who has possibly wronged us or abused us. Generally, I would say that an effective time to forgive a person would be when they have stopped doing whatever it was that upset us in the first place. So they have shown some sort of contrition. And the other aspect of forgiveness is that simply by letting go, whether that person knows about it or not, it can sometimes create a space in our lives whereby we can sometimes move forward and turn things around or turn a corner in our lives to move on to something better. So by not grasping onto it anymore, we have the wiggle room to actually change something for the better. That's the idea of the forgiveness. So the aspect of forgiveness also comes through very strongly on this Thai New Year or Songkran Day, because the act of pouring water is received with a blessing given by the person for whom we show that respect or ask that forgiveness. So it's like setting behind us any bad blood in the past so that we can move forward together with no further feelings of vengeance, because vengeance can be, as probably don't need to remind you, very destructive indeed. And the way Buddhists see it is that vengeance doesn't end at the end of your life. It's carried forward into future lifetimes as well, where it's just one person trying to get their own back on the other one, lifetime after lifetime, ad infinitum sometimes. So it's much better to call it a day and to reset the accounts before that happens in future lifetimes. Next full moon day is a big one in the calendar because it's also the Vesak day or Visakha Puja day, the Buddha's birthday, if that's more familiar to you. And for us, it falls on a Sunday this time, 15th of May of this year. And the theme for that will be a great teacher, the Buddha. And in Wat Dhammakaya in London especially, it might be a little bit of a more interactive activity, because we are hoping to invite as many as 10 different temples from different Buddhist traditions to receive gifts and to do a candle lighting and circumambulation at our temple, along with everyone else who joins in the ceremony as well. So it should be something which is very ecumenical from a Buddhist point of view. Most Buddhist temples, they do something on their own on Wesak Day, each to their own, but it's nowhere that I am aware of that gathers together different traditions to do something together and in unity, and to show unity on that day. So we're hoping to do that, especially looking forward to seeing the tail end of the pandemic as well, allowing us to do things together a little bit more than was the case before. Today is a Saturday DMEU a Zoom meeting for meditation and wisdom talk, and this actually happens every Saturday in one form or another, between 7 and 8 p.m. British time, or between 8 and 9 if you're on continental European time. Also, I'd like to give you a heads up for the European monk ordination, which after a period of being cancelled for the last 2 years, we are picking up on it again this year throughout the month of June, for 4 weeks if you're up for that, or for 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of June if you have less free time. Called the European Monk Ordination Program. You can try out being a monk for that length of time. And this year I believe the venue will be Denmark. So that's a nice change if any of you have not visited the temple in Denmark. Apart from that, we have a weekend retreat coming up in Dhammakaya in London between the 8th and 10th of July, which you might like to put in your diary if you are a keen meditator. And at the moment, we are also looking at other nearby venues where we might have a change of scene from a boring old temple that we spend all our time in, mostly meditating. So we're looking for some alternative venues at the same time as well to give ourselves a change of scene. For those who are regular meditators who would like to boost their encouragement levels, I'd like to remind you there's the MindGem app, which you can download for free onto your mobile phone, whether it's iOS or Android, and you have in that more than 100 tracks of audio teachings on meditation, or leading you through meditation from monks who speak English in our tradition.